was Moshe Rabbenu punished for not joining the IDF. Pretty strange. Moshe Rabbenu was the head of a kollel, and Rashi makes a very strange comment on Shemot Yud Zayin. That's the parsha that we read on Purim morning. We read the parsha on Purim morning, Pasuk Yud Aleph. That's the Purim morning reading. There are 6 mitzvahs on Purim. One of them was to read Shemot Yud Zayin, Pasuk Yud Aleph. V'hoya kash Yoram Moshe, the Amalekite attacked and terrorized us. Thank you. And then it says, V'hoya kash Yoram Moshe Yodo, when Moshe lifted up his hands, V'gova Yisrael. Then the Jews were victorious. The Kashaniach Yodo V'govar Amalek. And when Moshe put down his hands, the Amalekites were victorious. Strange. The first terrorist attack in history. And Amalek terrorized us. And Moshe went to the top of the mountain and he lifted up his hands. Then the Jews were victorious. When he put his hands down, Amalek was victorious. So Rashi asked, does Moshe have magic hands? Do Moshe's hands make or break wars? Shalom Aleichem, Rivka. Welcome back. Look at Rashi Yud Aleph, please, on the right column. Kasha Yoram Moshe Yoda, when Moshe lifted up his hands. So Rashi asked the question, V'chi Yodav Shal Moshe Noitchos Mochama? Moshe's hands, what does he have, magic hands? Look, man, no hands. So Rashi quotes the Mishnah Rosh Hashanah that Moshe's hands were a signal. When Moshe lifted up his hands, Yehuda, it was a signal to what? Focus on the one above, that he's in charge. And when Moshe put his hands down, the Jews broke concentration, and they thought that things happened by chance. And then Amalek was victorious. So Moshe's hands were not magic, they were a signal to help the Jews focus on the one above, that God's in charge, the world is not hefker. When they focused on that, they were victorious. When Moshe took his hands down, the Jews broke concentration and they thought, well, maybe it's up to me. And then Amalek, that's the spirit of Amalek. Things happen by chance. But then, look at Pasuk Yud Bet in the text. You have Yehuda v'yidei Moshe kvedim. Moshe's hands became very heavy. He couldn't even lift up his hands. Vayikhu even. They sumatachtav, so they took a stone and he sat on the stone. V'Aaron v'Chur and his brother Aaron and Chur, who was Chur, his nephew, tamchu b'yadav. Mizeh echad. Each one had to support his hands, each one from one side. V'yadav emunah ad boy hashemesh. His hands were emunah. What does emunah mean? His hands were loyal. They did what they had to do. They stayed up. They stayed up as a sign for the Jews to focus on the one above, not magic hands. So Rashi asked the question, Midei Moshe kvedim, Moshe's hands became heavy. He was only 80 years old, and he lived another 40 years. And the Torah testifies when he died, 40 years later, he was what? Charlie Atlas. The Torah says 40 years later, he was still powerful. He was full of vim and vigor. So he was only a spring chicken here. He was only 80 years old. Why did he suffer the humiliation and the busha of not having able to have his hands raised up? 40 years later, he knocked off the ogre, Og Melech HaBashan. You look about Midbar Lamed Gimel. So here he was what? In the prime of his life. He couldn't even lift up his hands. Why did Moshe have to suffer such a busha humiliation? Look at this incredible Rashi. Yud Bet. You see Rashi Yud Bet on the right side, Yehuda. V'idei Moshe kvedim. Moshe's hands were heavy. Why was that? B'shvil shenis atzel b'mitzvah. Moshe was lax in the mitzvah. Which mitzvah was he lax in? Putting on tefillin. Umina achatachtav, and he appointed someone else in his place. Who did he appoint? Yeshua ben Nun. Therefore, Nisyakvu Yadav, his hands became what? Weak, and he had to suffer the busha and the cherpa of all the Jewish people seeing the great leader in the prime of his life not even able to raise his hands. Incredible Rashi. Moshe was lax in the mitzvah. Which mitzvah was he lax in? Ruvain said the mitzvah of what? Joining the IDF. It's incredible. Now, there are 2 types of mitzvot we learned about. There's a mitzvah you can make a shliach. In the mitzvah, you can't make a shliach. I can make a shliach. This week is Pashas HaChodesh, right? So I can make a shliach to shech the Korban Pesach for me, right? But can I make a shliach to put on tefillin for me? Why not? Mitzvah shebegufay. So Rashi is saying something amazing. That joining the IDF is a mitzvah like what? Putting on tefillin. Just like you cannot make a shliach to put on tefillin. You can't make a shliach to join the IDF. Moshe made a mistake. He thought that joining the IDF you can do a mitzvah like what? Shchitas Korban Pesach, you can do a shliach. And he made a shliach Yeshua ben Nun. He was mistaken. And therefore he suffered the humiliation of what? Of having his hands being raised up by his brother and his nephew. Because Rashi said, B'shul shedes atzel b'mitzvah. Why was he lazy in the mitzvah? He appointed Yeshua ben Nun in his place. You could certain mitzvot, you can what? Make a shliach. So Moshe thought that the mitzvah of joining the IDF, you can appoint to an agent like B'dikas Chometz. Like what? Like Kiddushin V'Gittin. You can make a shliach. So Rashi is telling us that no, Melchemet mitzvah is a mitzvah like tefillin. It's a mitzvah shebegufa. You cannot what? Make a shliach. It's amazing. Who did Moshe draft to be the chief of the IDF? Who? Yeshua ben Nun. Who was the greatest yeshiva bacher in the history of mankind? Yeshua ben Nun. He was the greatest yeshiva bacher of all time, and Moshe Rabbenu drafted him to head the IDF, and wasn't good enough. He should have what? Gone himself. Ad kedei kacha, because he didn't go, he what? Was punished. Rabbi. Wow, some people say, don't confuse me with the facts. Rabbi. Who's more Haredi than Moshe Rabbenu? Right? The chief of all rabbis, the head of the kollel. And he was punished because he himself didn't join the IDF to go fight Amalek. Right. Abu Mamzer, our peace partners, right?
But it begs one question.
What's the question?
The question is, why would he learn that at Har Sinai? He learned all that drashas on all that stuff. Why would he learn this?
Because he's human. He made other mistakes, right? He made other mistakes where he became upset with Aaron's kids and he didn't know, right? He's human. Even the great rabbi, and he made Iraq, and he did other things. He called the Jews rebels, right? Even great people make mistakes. The only one that's perfect is God, right? Yes, but it's amazing. Rashi is saying Moshe was lax in the mitzvah. Which mitzvah? Joining the IDF to fight Amalek. Nothing has changed in 3,325 years. So some people just cop out and they don't take... Rashi was also Haredi, I think, right? Yes, sir. What? Right. You can't make a shliach for Mechemet Mitzvah like putting on tefillin.
No, I once read, they asked him, why are you sending someone, just like you said. So they said, we're making a shliach. So
show them Rashi.
What you said.
Not me, it's Rashi. Don't blame me, Sharona. Rashi was very Haredi, I think he was.
Moshe Rabbenu made the same mistake
That we're doing what? Pretty interesting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Who decides if it's the shliach?
There are two type of... I just gave you an example. Putting on tefillin, you cannot make a shliach. B'dikas chometz, shechting the Korban Pesach, sending a get, you can do through a shliach. Each mitzvah has to be analyzed whether you can make a shliach or not. Moshe Rabbenu made that mistake. He thought that what? That joining the IDF you can do through a proxy. Who's a better proxy than Yeshua ben Nun? He was wrong and he suffered for it.
I have a question.
Fire away.
Okay?
Yes, sir. I'm all ears.
This has to do with the present day.
Exactly. The Torah is actually.
Being refused to serve in the army.
So that's exactly my point. I'm speaking to the converted. What's it called? Preaching to the converted. I don't know, but I just want to show you the source. Next time you meet a Haredi who says that what? That studying Torah, you don't have to go to the army. Who studied more Torah than Moshe Rabbenu? Who studied more Torah than Yeshua ben Nun?
That's right.
Don't confuse me with the facts.
Rabbi, you're preaching to the choir.
To the choir, thank you. But we have to move on.
In Breshit and Bamidbar,
Yes.
there was conscription.
Right.
To fight the Amalek, the enemies, there was conscription.
That's right.
They took a half of shekel, and
Right.
they over 20 years old, and they made an army. And they
No, but we have to move on. Yeah, I agree with
Why
you.
don't they take
So that's my question. Don't ask me my question. I'm asking you that question.
What do they do with the verse?
What do they do with the verse? Maybe they skipped this Rashi. I don't know. Rashi accuses Moshe of being lax. Alan, lax. Because he didn't join the IDF to fight Amalek. Hello? That's Mechemet Mitzvah. That's what Rashi means. Mechemet. So the Rambam says that Mechemet Mitzvah is Ezras Yisrael miyat tsar shabo eleim. Defending the people of Israel in the land of Israel from an enemy is classic Mechemet Mitzvah. Therefore, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, no less, Echad Hagabracha said that anyone who joins the IDF is doing Mechemet Mitzvah 24/7. I think he was Haredi. The Lubavitcher Rebbe is Echad Hagabracha, based on this Rambam. The IDF is protecting the people of Israel in the land of Israel from an enemy. So that's a classic Mechemet Mitzvah. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal said that anyone who joins the IDF, Abraham Berkowitz, is doing Mechemet Mitzvah 24/7. Hello? Lubavitcher Rebbe Zechat Tzadik Avrocha. Okay. So where were we? Ad Ba Shemesh, until the going down of the sun. Ad Ba, the sun came. Where the sun came, where? Look at this incredible Rashi, Rivka. Ad Ba Shemesh. Shoya Amalekim b'chasfin et hashoes b'estrologia. The Amalekites knew how to manipulate the stars through astrologia. What does that mean? Astrology. Be'ez shohem notchim, v'hemid lehem Moshe chama. Moshe stopped the sun. Avram. And mixed them up. Okay? So, yes, but Rashi's telling us, Nechama, that Moshe Rabbenu stopped the sun before Yeshua. Yeshua, we have an open pasuk in the book of Yeshua. Here Rashi tell us, according to the oral Torah, Hemid lehem Moshe chama. Moshe also stopped the sun to confuse the Amalekites. Okay? Now God makes an amazing statement in pasuk Tezayin. Vayomek yod al kes yom ochom al Hashem ba'amalek midor dor. Moshe says, look at Rashi Tezayin, Vayome Moshe, on the left column. You have it, Yehuda. Vayome Moshe, Tezayin, Rashi. Ki yod al kes ka, yod al shakurish baruch hu, hurma, l'shavik Kodesh Baruch Hu, so to speak, raises his hand. God has no hand, but dibrei Torah kaloshon b'nei Adam. It's an anthropomorphism. It's a $50 word. The Torah speaks in the language of men, that God, so to speak, raises his hand and he takes an oath. Liosh mochama ve'eva b'Amalek oilamit. You hear that God will have eternal war and hatred against Amalek. Umau case, we just read this Purim morning. How come it says case for lo kisei? How do you say throne in Hebrew, Avram? Kisei. How come it's written case? God's throne is written what? Incomplete. Af Hashem nechlak lechetzyo. Even God's name is written in Yud K instead of what? Yud K Vav K. Nishba Kodesh Baruch Hu. Wow, God takes an oath. You follow me, Avram and Rashi? She'ein Shemo Shalem, ve'ein Kiso Shalem, at she'yemoche Shmo Shel Amalek. God's name and God's sovereignty will not be complete until Amalek is eradicated. You hear this? Ukeshimoche Shemo Yi Hashem Shalem Bakisei Shalem. When Amalek, the symbol of evil, is eradicated, that's only the Messianic era, only then will God's name and God's sovereignty be what? Complete. Wow. Amalek is very much alive and well today, Abraham. Very much alive and well today. Who is Amalek? Said Rav Chaim Soloveitchik, Amalek is not any typical nation. It's anyone who hates the Jewish people, buddy, more than they love their own life. They're willing to destroy their own lives to kill Jews. You know anybody like that? Yeah. That's Amalek. Rav Chaim Soloveitchik 100 years ago Look how prophetic, Yehuda. Anyone that hates the Jews more than he loves his own life, he's willing to destroy his own life to kill Jews. You know that person? I think it's Abu Mamzer, our peace partner. That's Amalek. So the spirit of Amalek is very much alive and well. So the IDF is engaged in the classic Mechemet Mitzvah, which Moshe Rabbenu himself, Yehuda, was punished for what? Not joining. I don't know how you can get around this. It seems to be what? Pretty open and shut. Okay? Now, you do you mind handing out the second sheets? So if you don't want to join the IDF, at least express gratitude and appreciation for those who do join the IDF. The very minimum. Rabbeinu Bachya and the Sefer Chinuch of Aaron tell us that the entire Jewish religion, Shirley, is based on the principle of Hakarat HaTov. In English, it's called expressing gratitude and appreciation for those that do good to you. That's the entire Ikra of Yahadut, to express Hakarat HaTov for someone that did you good, does you good, appreciation and gratitude. And if you don't express appreciation and gratitude, you're missing the entire point of being a Jew, Reb Yaakov. Now, you take a look at this sheet that I'm passing out. It says number 4. Thank you, Yehuda. I'm going to prove to you that making a mishaberach for the IDF is a mitzvah in the Torah. I don't know how some people cannot make a mishaberach. They make a mishaberach for the IDF in your shul, Rabbi Yaakov, Baruch Hashem. But certain shuls refuse to make mishaberach, right? What? Oh, now, Rabbi Aaron, fasten your seatbelts. Take a look over here. Pasuk Aleph. Edaber Shema Moshe Lemor. You with me? Why not? It's number 4, Pasuk Aleph. Next to Sheni. You have it, Chama? Vaydaber Shema Moshe Lemor, Nekoim Nikmas B'nei Yisrael Me'etam Midyanim. Take revenge against the Midianites. The Midianites caused the death of 24,000 Jews. God says now it's Miller time. Take revenge for spilled Jewish blood. So God says, Nekoim Nikmas B'nei Yisrael. Right? See Pasuk Bet? Take revenge for the Jewish people. How does Moshe report it to the IDF? Pasuk Gimel. Reb Reuven, you want to read Pasuk Gimel and ask me a question? Hecholtzu me'itchem latzava. Join the IDF. Ooh, Sharona. God says, join the IDF. Yal Midyan. Lot take nikmas Hashem b'Midyan. So Rashi's puzzled. Why does Moshe change God's instructions? Rivka, God says in Pasuk Bet, you have it, page number 4, Pasuk Bet, you have it, Yehuda? Bet, right after Sheni. God says, Nikol Nikmas B'nei Yisrael, take revenge for spilled Jewish blood. How does Moshe report the instructions to the IDF? Pasuk Gimel, Nikmas Hashem. Sharona, why is Moses changing God's instruction? What? Nikmas B'nei Yisrael, it's revenge for Jewish blood. And Moses says, no, take revenge for what? For God. So Rabbi Aaron, look at Rashi, please, on the left side. Second line from the top. Rashi asked that question. Nikmat Hashem. Kineged Yisrael. No, anyone who raises a hand against Israel. Kilu Omed Kineged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moses is not changing God's instructions. When you harm Israel, Kaviyachol, who are you really after? The God of Israel. So it's one and the same. Revenge for spilled Jewish blood is revenge for God. So therefore Moshe does not change the instructions. Anyone who raises a hand against Israel, including the Balkari or Abu Mamzer, is like he raises a hand against God himself. Now, wow. Yes, sir. That's right, because it's one and the same. Nekama for B'nai Yisrael is Nekama for God. Wow. That's why we're so hated, Abraham. They really hate the Jewish God. Hitler said it so in Mein Kampf. We hate the Jew because the Jew gave the world a conscience, morality, justice. So they really hate the Jewish God. You see, it's one and the same. Now, look at Pasuk Dalet. Who was drafted? Rabbi Yaakov, Pasuk Dalet. You see, I have a check there. Elef lamateh, Elef lamateh. 1,000 for a tribe, 1,000 for a tribe. L'chol matos Yisrael. For all the tribes of Israel, tishlechu latzava. So look at this incredible Rashi. Rashi Dalid. Left column, 3 lines down from the top. Chol matos Yisrael. You have it? You, that's you. Rashi Dalid. L'chol matos l'rabot. Shevet Levi. Now the Levites, they were the clergy. The Levites were the Bochrim, the Yeshiva Bochrim. But when it came to Mechemet Mitzvah, Rashi says that even Shevet Levi, who are the Koilel guys, even they were drafted. L'rabot Shevet Levi. Well, you see that, Yehuda? This bud's for you. Dalit, Rashi, left column, 4 lines down from the top. That even the Levites, who were the Koilel guys, the teachers of Israel, Avram, even they were not exempted to fight what? Melchemet Mitzvah. Wow. Rambam says before, of course. Rashi and Rambam, they drink at the same well, right, Nechama?
What if you're an old Levi?
An old Levi. I don't know how old a Levi you got to be. Yeah, 2 Levites sitting next to each other here. Now, let's look at Pasuk Dalet, Rivka, carefully. It says, Elef lamateh, Elef lamateh. 1,000 for a tribe, 1,000 for a tribe. How many were drafted? What? 12,000. So how come it says Elef lamateh twice?
Maybe it's 24,000.
No. Clearly, it was 1,000 for a tribe. So the Medrash says something incredible, Ruvain. Please fasten your seatbelts for this one. The Medrash Rabbah says, Elef lamateh, Elef lamateh. For every 1,000 that went to fight, there was another 1,000 that their job was what? Just to pray and make a mishaberach for the chayalim. Isn't that incredible? Surely. So the Medrash Rabbah, I think they were Haredi, they say clearly that that to make a mishaberach for the chayalim is a pasuk in the Torah, Rivka. Elef lamateh, Elef lamateh. I repeat myself, but the Torah never does. 1 minute. So 1,000 per tribe, they went to fight. Corresponding to that, there was another 1,000 who, while the war was going on, their job was strictly to what? To pray for the hatzlacha of their brothers in war. So the Medrash Rabbah, Rabbi Ruvain, is telling us that making mishaberach for tzahal is what? A pasuk in the Torah. Ooh. Don't confuse me with the facts, Mrs. Lapp. Elef lamateh. It's an extra word. Nechama, it's not extra. For every 1,000 fighters, there was another 1,000, not lovers, Lillian, but another 1,000 who what? Their job was to be...
If the Haredim were praying, then they wouldn't have to fight. Praying, but they're not praying for them, right?
But I'm saying, so if you don't want to go, at least make a mishaberach for the chayalim. But they don't make a mishaberach, but they don't. There were 600,000 people attended a prayer rally. But it even made a special bracha. The last time 600,000 Jews got together to pray was what? I think it's called Mammon Har Sinai. The last time 600,000 Jews got together, Avram, to pray, when was it? Har Sinai. And they made a special bracha, Baruch Atu Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Chacham Harazim. Chacham Harazim. That means, bless Hashem God, you are the Chacham who knows the secrets of each and every Jew. 600,000, each one is a world unto himself. Chacham Harazim. God is Yodeya Hasodot. Raz in Hebrew means sod, secret. Hashem Yodeya Hasodot shekol echad ve'echad. Right? And Talmud says, just like our faces are different, our opinions are different. As Ben Gurion told Eisenhower, what did he say? Mr. President, you're the president of 180 million people. He told Eisenhower. I am the prime minister of 3.5 million prime ministers. That's what Ben Gurion, and he's right. Chacham Arazim, each Jew is unique in a world unto himself. So wouldn't it have been nice after the huge rally, as a gesture of chesed, that someone should get up and what? Make a prayer for the IDF. There's a pasuk in Mishlei, Dorecheo Darkei Noyam. The ways of Torah are sweet and pleasant, and all of its paths lead to peace. Can you imagine what kind of peace there would be if someone would get up and make a mishaberach after the rally to reach out to our brethren, our secular brethren? That's exactly what one would expect from what? From what? From Torah Jews. Right? But no, nobody got up and made a mishaberach. Where is the love and concern for all Jews? What a wasted opportunity. A magic moment lost. Can you imagine the love? We would have reached out to our secular brethren. A simple gesture of chesed, expressing kindness and gratitude. Could we study Torah for one moment? Could we live in this country for one moment? The Chayalim were not risking their lives 24/7? Where's that Koras HaTov? Get up and make a mishaberach. But no. Now, what really boggles the mind of Yaakov Goldman, boggles the mind, they had a rally in Manhattan, 50,000 Haredim showed up. Oh yeah, on Wall Street, you can read the Jewish press, 50,000 showed up, a rally against what? Joining the IDF. At the end of the rally, they got up and they made a mishaberach for the NYPD. I'm not joking, you can look at the New York Post. They made him Shabbat for the New York Police Department for what? For protecting them. Hello? What about him Shabbat for the 6 million Yidden that are living in Israel that couldn't live for 5 minutes if it wasn't for the Chayalim? So you make a Mishaberach, Mrs. Lapp. Look at the New York Post. For the NYPD, New York Police Department, for protecting you and making sure that the rally is secure and safe. What about 6 million Yidden in Eretz Yisrael? Why can't you get up and make a mishaberach for them? What would it have hurt? But no. Unbelievable. I just don't understand it. They just don't get it. For the czar, they make a mishaberach. No? Remember Fiddler on the Roof? Rabbi, is there a blessing for the czar? May God keep the czar far away from us. You look at the old Sidurim, there's blessings for the Tsar and for the New York Police Department. But for the Chayalim, who protect us day and night and day, buddy, could we live here and study Torah for 1 month? Wasn't it the Chayalim? Where is the courtesy? Where is the Rechel Darkei Noyam? V'chol Nitevetel Shalom. I just don't understand it.
How many shuls in America make the prayer for Israel?
I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. What? Again, Hakara Tatov said Rabbeinu Bachya and Sefer Chinuch is the Iker of Yahadut. So what good is you doing mitzvah if you don't have the Iker? Hakara Tatov. Where's your gratitude appreciation? Do you know who intercepted the ship? Excuse me, Riff, the ship, I don't know if you were here, the ship with the rockets from Iran were heading to what? Gaza. Friday night, the Chayalim were in the middle of singing L'chodoidi. And Shalom Aleichem, in the middle, they risked their lives to intercept that rocket ship. In the middle of L'chodoidi, the Kvat Kala. So where is the gratitude and appreciation? Huh? No. I don't understand. I just don't understand. Mishaberach for the New York Police Department, yes, but for the Tzahal, no. They just don't get it. What? Evelyn.
In my neighborhood, which is Ozzy Nevera,
Right?
I met somebody who's from Rockaway, who's learning here and here.
Yeah.
And I, said something that doesn't agree with, these people joining the IDF. And he said, how can we join the IDF when they're such low lives and they're so corrupt and so...
They're corrupt.
So lewd and don't keep the mitzvah.
But the New York Police Department is not lewd. right? The NYPD. Then we made, well, Aviva, then we thank, right?
I want to recommend an article.
What?
There was a letter written, there's Rabbi Krasansky in T-Mobile.
Right.
One of his friends in New York wrote him a letter asking him to join this protest meeting.
Where, Manhattan?
In Manhattan.
Right.
His answer was absolutely fabulous. And he mentioned there that maybe the best place for them is in jail, because in jail it's very comfortable. You could learn all day.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to look it up on the
Yeah.
internet and read it. Wonderful, wonderful letter.
What did Moshe Rabbenu say? The B'nai Gad and B'nai Ruvain, they wanted to stay behind. So if you look at Numbers 32, Moshe Rabbenu says, Achechem yovou al mechama, va'atem teishvu po. Wow. What? Mechemet Mitzvah, there are no exemptions. Mechemet Mitzvah, there are no exemptions in what? In Mechemet Mitzvah. Yes? What? Why is there written Pamayim? It's not a typo.
Where does the 1,000 and 1,000 come from? Who gave this interpretation?
Medrash Rabbah. Medrash Rabbah in Bamidbar 31 gives this interpretation. Therefore, it's Elef Lamata. Medrash Rabbah in Bamidbar. And this pasuk, why it's written Elef Lamata Pamayim? That there was 1,000 corresponding. Their job was to pray for the Hatzlacha of their brothers in war. What is that? The Mishaberach is Min HaTorah. Now, if you turn number 4 over to the other side, turn number 4 over to the other side, Sharon. It's unbelievable. Now, you have the other side, number 4, or you don't? Pasuk Gimel. You have that? Pasuk Gimel. You with me or against me? V'lava shakohen midoi bad. You see that? Pasuk Gimel. When the Kohen does the avodah, he puts on a uniform. Right? Midoi bad. Look at this incredible Balaturim. Now, the Balaturim was a Haredi rabbi who lived in the year 1348. The entire code of Jewish law, Shirley, that we have today is based on the Balaturim. Look at this incredible Balaturim. V'lava shakohen midoi bad. Now, we ain't got a Kohen today, and a Kohen ain't got a uniform today. We know that the Torah is what? Actually. So the Balturim is puzzled. Why tell me the Kohen wore a uniform? So what? Look at this incredible Balaturim. See, you have the check there, Yehuda. Balaturim. V'lova shakohen. V'lova shakohen. Midoi bad. V'yoyav chogar midoi levusha. The same language is written by King David's army. Who was the chief of King David's army? Yoav. And it says, when King David's soldiers went to war, they also wore mido, bad. So Balturim is puzzled. Why is the same word for the Kohen's uniform the same word for what? For the IDF uniform under King David. Fasten your seatbelts, buddy. Shebigdei kahuna. Who wants to help me here? Shebigdei kahuna ke'ein bigdei milchama. You hear that the uniform of the Kohen has the Kiddusha of the uniform of the Malchama.
But it's only like it.
Ke big day, ke ein big day. You're comparing A to B. What's greater? Big day kahuna, the Kohen's uniform. The reason why the word for uniform, surely by a Kohen, and the word for uniform by the Chayalim, what they're wearing, says Balatum to teach that the Kohen's uniform has the same Kiddusha as what? As the big day, as the soldier's uniform. Now what does that mean? Whose Kiddusha is greater?
The soldier.
Right, Uvein?
Like
We know Hebrew.
Like
Big day kahuna ke'en. Close but no cigar. So Baltur is saying something amazing. That the Chayalim's uniform, Sharon, has more Kiddusha than what? Big day kahuna. Why is that? Because the Kohen is sacrificing an animal. But the Chayalim are sacrificing their lives, not an animal. So their uniform is holier. Balaturim, Haredi Rabbi, 1348, the entire code of Jewish law is based on the 4 Turim. Anybody will tell you that. Look at this. Big day kahuna ain't big day melchama. Close but no sikar. The Kohen's uniform has similar kedusha to big day melchama. I'm reading the Balaturim, where it has checks there. You see that? Because why is it close? Because the Kohen is offering a korban. But the Chayal is offering what? Not a korban. Himself. So therefore his uniform surely is what? He was, I don't know, was he a Zionist? I don't know. I think he was very Haredi, the Balaturim. Wow. It's pretty interesting that the Balaturim would say that. And therefore, Rav Kook said, the first time you put on an IDF uniform, you should make a shecheyanu. You should make a shecheyanu. You hear this? A shecheyanu. And Rav Kook, that's how, his Talmidim always were in the army, and when they get married, they would wear the uniform, so they tell, he would stand under the chuppah, caressing and kissing the uniform. Rav Kook. He would be Masada Kiddushin. The Chayalim, they'll get married, he would caress and kiss the uniform. Because it has the Kiddusha of the big day kahuna. You hear? And these people today, they spit on IDF uniforms. I mean, what is going on? This is Judaism? I don't understand. What?
The secular soldier,
Yeah.
he goes on Kiddush Hashem.
That's right.
Kiddush Hashem
Nachon?
for his people and
Nachon?
for our country.
Nachon?
He's secular.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Recognize that he's fighting at the Kiddush Hashem.
Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, Zecher Tzadik Avracha, the Rosh Yeshiva of Miri Yeshiva, pretty Haredi, right? Every Yom Kippur night, he would make a drasha and cry for the Chayalim. He said that any Chayal that gets killed defending Israel is like Haruge Lad, the martyrs of Lad, who the Talmud says that no tzaddik can reach their level in Olam Haba. And he wept every Yom Kippur night, and he spoke about the need to empathize with the dangers that the IDF soldier faces on a daily basis. And you hear this? The Chaim Shmulevitz, when did he pass away? In the 60s, no? In the 60s. And the Gera Rebbe, Zechreinu Levracha, this is going back also to the 60s. I think we're regressing. The Gera Rebbe, Zechreinu Levracha, Yiddish Yehuda, appealed to the yeshiva world to break down the walls of separation and allow yeshiva boys to give back to the nation, to join the army. If not, he warned, they would cause animosity and resentment from Israeli society, causing a chil Hashem. This is what he said in the 1960s, Shirley. Nebuch, his plea was rejected, and now we have the hatred.
Where do you see that? Where'd you find that?
What? On the internet. The Gera Rebbe Zechariah Avracha appealed to the yeshiva world to break down the walls of separation and allow the yeshiva boys to join the army, to give back to the nation, he said. If not, he warned, this would cause animosity and hatred and resentment from Israeli society, causing a tremendous chilul Hashem. Unfortunately, the Rebbe's advice was rejected. He was ridiculed. And now we have this hatred that threatens to tear our nation apart. Go ahead. The Gera Rebbe. You know what Rav Shach said? Rav Shach said, those in yeshiva not learning full time have a din like a rodef. That's what he said. Those in yeshiva not learning full time, sometimes you see them smoking or whatever, he says they have a din like a rodef. But anyway, rodef, what is a rodef? I don't want to translate rodef, right? Right? Unbelievable. But anyway, here we have clearly the sources, and as Doctor mentioned, the Rambam says clearly, al mechemet mitzvah, no one is exempt, everyone has to go. Ezras Yisrael miyat tsar shabo aleim. Everyone has to go. So they say that they're busy Torah, so they don't have to go. So if you're studying Torah, why do you have to put on tefillin for? If you have to put on tefillin, joining the IDF, Mechemes Mitzvah is like a mitzvah like putting on tefillin. Right? That doesn't exempt you. You're studying Torah, fine, but when you have to do a mitzvah, doesn't exempt you from other mitzvot, right? So therefore, there really is no excuse today for not joining the IDF, and the bare minimum is just to do Hakara Satoiv again. Hakara Satoiv is Derech Eretz Kabbalah Torah. If you look at the sheet number 4 again, show you something amazing, how far Hakara Tatov goes. Hakara Tatov, expressing gratitude and appreciation to someone that does you good. Again, we couldn't live in this country for 5 minutes, Yehuda, let alone study Torah. Who would protect us? John Balkari, who would protect us? Huh? Like they're protecting Ukraine, right? Who would protect us, right? The NYPD would protect us? They get a Mishaberach. The New York Post, can you imagine the Chilul Hashem, right? But anyway, if you look at Pasuk Aleph on side number 4, you with me, Reb Aaron? V'adaber Sheva Moshe Lemor, Nikoim Nikmas B'nei Yisrael. You take revenge against Midian. Again, Moshe hands off the football. Look at Pasuk Vav. Vayishlach Oto Moshe. Moshe sends them, and this time, instead of appointing Yeshua ben Nun, who does he appoint? Pinchas. And this time, Reb Ruvain, he wasn't punished. Reb Meir, 40 years ago, when he didn't join the IDF himself against Amalek, he appointed Yeshua ben Nun, he was punished. 40 years later, this is the 40th year, he makes the same mistake. God says, you go fight Midian, and Pasuk Vav says, Vayishlach Oto Moshe, Latzava, Vet Pinchas. And this time he makes a shliach again, and this time, Reb Yaakov, he's not punished.
War against the Amalek is far different.
Why? Both of them were Mechemet Mitzvah. Yes, Reb Aaron, don't confuse me with the fact. Both, it's a war, a Mechemet Mitzvah to defend Am Yisrael from terrorists. Whether it's Amalek or Midian, they both have a din like Mechemet Mitzvah. Therefore, Shevet Levi went. Look at Rashi Dalet on the left column. L'chol Matos Yisrael. Shevet Levi only goes by Mechemet Mitzvah. See Rashi Dalet, left column, 5 lines down. So Midian was also what, Rabbi Yaakov? Mechemet Mitzvah. Therefore, your tribe had to go. So here Moshe didn't go, and this time he's not punished. You know why, Rabbi Yaakov? So the Medrash says, because Moshe didn't go himself, because when he escaped from Mitzrayim, wasn't he a fugitive? Remember the fugitive? Yeah. Who protected him? Midian. They protected him. They did not extradite him back to Cairo. So Yisrael couldn't do anything without the Midianite government. So the Medrash says, therefore, Moshe Rabbenu disobeyed a direct command from God, because Hakara Tatov, he couldn't do it. He made a shliach. This time he wasn't punished, because Hakara Tatov, Derech Eretz Kodma Torah, would not allow him to go himself. Unlike Amalek, who he owed no Hakara Tatov to Amalek, there he should have gone himself, and he didn't. He was punished. Here, Yehuda, he also handed off. And this time he wasn't punished, because Hakara Tatov that comes before the Torah. Menschlichkeit, Derech Eretz Kabbalah Torah, and therefore Moshe felt that he himself could not go fight Midian, because the Midianite government protected him when he was a fugitive from Egypt, and they did not, buddy, extradite him. So he sent Pinchas, and this time he did the right thing, unlike 40 years earlier, when he made a mistake. Look how far Hakara Tatov goes. You listening to me?
Is Midian one of the 7 nations?
No. But they caused the death of 24,000 Jews, Evelyn. So instead of releasing mass murderers, right, we have to go fight them, not release them. Hello? No. Any war, but Nikmas Hashem, Rabbi, not reading the Rashi. This is not Amalek, this is Midian. Anyone that raises a hand against Israel, says Rashi, on side number 4. Rashi Nikmas Hashem, 2 lines down. Nikmas Hashem, you have it, Sharona. She'omed keneged Yisrael, kilu omed keneged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Wow. So Moshe should have gone. God said, Pasuk Bet, you take revenge against Midian. And Moshe handed off in Pasuk Vav. He did not go. He sent Pinchas instead. And this time he was not punished. So the Medrash says, because Hakara Tatov. Wow.
Rabbi.
His wife was a Midianite. That's right.
Rabbi.
But Midian protected him. Yisrael couldn't do anything without the Midianite government, right? So Hakara Tatov, therefore he did not go himself.
Something with the Moabites, why we don't marry into them, at least the men, because of something with Hakara Tatov, I seem to remember.
What?
Because they didn't give them bread and water or something like
You're not supposed to marry. Lo Yovai Ammon and Moav.
that? Yeah,
Ammon and Moav cannot enter the Jewish people, the men folk, because they didn't greet us with bread and water, and they also hired Bilam.
Lot was the relative, and he's in the Abraham family.
Right.
So they should have showed us first.
Right, so Ammon and Moav, the men folk are banned.
Right.
Ruth was a Moabite, but she's a female. So the oral Torah says, Yehuda, that the ban against marriage is only on the male Moabites, but not against what? The female. Therefore, Ruth was able to convert and marry Boaz and become the grandmother of the Melech HaMashiach. But King David suffered all of his life from that stigma. They accused him of coming from Moab. Remember, Doeg Adomi said to Shaul, before you're asking whether he can be a king, ask whether he's even Jewish. Hello? Maybe he's not even Jewish because he comes from Moab, and the Moabites are not permitted to join the Jewish people. Yes.
You said he was 80. You said this is...
Moshe was 80. This is 40 years later.
40 years later.
Right.
So he's 120 when he dies. So how can you say he wasn't punished? He might have been able to live longer.
120 is a long life.
There's people who live longer.
They say he should live until May of Esrim. Don't they say that? Because of him, right? The Torah testifies when he died, his natural vigor was not, what's the word, abated. Right? He was macho. Right? This is 40 years later. Right?
So why didn't he continue to live?
Because, Hashem said that's it, 120.
That's why I'm asking.
120. Person's time is up. Right? 120. That's an ideal lifetime, right? You say, Ad Me'ev Esrim, you say, right? His brother was 123. And his sister was 125. Right? He was the youngest. Moshe was the youngest. First, who died? Miriam died. Then Aaron died. And then Moshe Rabbenu died, right? Okay.
It was the war that
What?
Balak came to get Bilam.
But to hire Bilam to get rid of the Jews, right?
It says that, and this is the war that ultimately
Caused the death of 24,000 Jews, right?
It says about Bilam and Balak, if you take the 2 last letters of their name,
You get Amalek, right? We had many, many enemies throughout Jewish, right?
You're right. Correct.
But Balak,
take the 2 last letters of
right?
Bilam and Balak, you get them up.
But it's amazing that Ruth, the grandmother of Mashiach, comes from Balak. Balak, the God has a sense of humor, no? I mean, it's just amazing. The one who wanted to exterminate Israel, Balak is an acronym, Shirley. Ba Lalakek Dam Shel Yisrael. Balak is an acronym, NYPD. Ba Lalakek, he came to lick the blood of Israel. And yet, his granddaughter is what? The mother of Mashiach. God has a sense of humor, what? Well, pretty strange, right? Right? You never know, what? You never know. God has his own plans. What? What? I don't know. Right?
It was very interesting. The war
It's strange. God has a sense of humor. That the Haman did more for the Tshuva movement than the 48 Nevi'im. The 48 Nevi'im, they said do Tshuva, went in one ear, out the other. Right? Haman came on the scene. All the Yidden became what? FFB. They all became from. That's why you get drunk on Purim. It takes a Haman to make us do Tshuva. It's too painful to say sober. All the 48 Nevi'im, you couldn't listen, right? Disregarded them, ignored them. It takes a Haman and Abu Mamzer to make you do tshuva? How can you stay sober? You have to get shikker. You can't. It's too painful to remain sober. This is God's game plan, Nechama. Say the magic word, Jewish state, Jewish state. If he said it, Bibi said, I'll give you the candy store. He can't say it. Why can't he say it? God is saving us from ourselves. Shirley, look, you see the Yad Hashem? Abu Mamza just can't say Jewish state. All Bibi said, oh, please say Jewish state. You can have everything. Jerusalem, the capital, right? Everything. More murders be released, and he can't say it. Buddy, does it make sense? You see the Yad Hashem. Vayechazek Hashem et leiv Abu Mamzer. You see it, Sharona. God is saving us from ourselves. He just can't say the word Jewish state. He'll get everything. Meshugana. Lillian, he can't help himself. God is saving us from ourselves by hardening his heart. Just like he did to Arafat. Barak said, take the candy store. Remember? Take it all. Barak. He wouldn't. I can't say yes. It's unbelievable. You see the Yad Hashem? You see the Yad Hashem? No, he's making a comeback. Don't worry. We're waiting for him. So God is looking out for us, saving us from ourselves. Go ahead. Just say the Jewish state. We could say Palestinian state, but he can't say, he'll choke on the words, buddy. He'll choke on the words. He can't say it.
He's asking to certify his Jewishness, right?
Right.
When you think about
how come we have no trouble saying Palestinian state, but he can't say the word Jewish state? Bam. So this is a catch-22. Yehuda, it's a catch-22, but Baruch Hashem, that Abu Mamzer is being stubborn, saving us from ourselves. Our best ally, that's right.